Welcome to your 8 minutes Thriving Hard for Thriving Life Grief Tips. Let me ask you, do you know anyone who would love to protect their children? Perhaps parents who want to protect their child, or grandparents with their grandkids, or even aunt and uncle for their nephew and niece. It's very understandable. It's very normal that we want to protect children in our life, including not exposing them to anything that might make them feel uncomfortable. And at the same time, when it comes to emotions, earlier this week being Childhood Mental Health Awareness Week, when it comes to emotions, sometimes exposing our children, if they also go through similar thing to what we went through, it can actually be very, very helpful for them. You see, children does not always know what they're feeling. Their ability of understanding, particularly younger child, but even a teenage adolescents, they don't always has the same grasp of their emotions and their feelings. That's number one. And then secondly, they're not always able to express, particularly in words, but also in expressions of emotions, the way adult able to do, or the most adult able to do. And because of that, sometimes when things are happening, if we allow ourselves to do what for many might seem to be being vulnerable, or even being told to be weak, so to say, such as cry in front of them, or allow ourselves to show that we are upset, or we feel mindfully and thoughtfully, of course, but to allow ourselves to say, oh, we're not feeling good, or even discouraged, or depressed, or something. Sometimes, many times actually, it becomes, firstly, it's help the child to understand what's going on in them. Because when children doesn't understand their feeling, they feel they do grieve, they do get upset, but all they feel is this unsettledness. It's kind of like this burning thing, or this just they just feel unsettled. And for many children, it's usually turned into number one, it can turn into physical ailments, but also oftentimes it turn into behavior problems, so to say. So they're not behaving the way that they best for them at school with friends. They take it out on friends. They become very easily triggered by their friends and anything else that's going on. And then they also have difficulty focusing at school. Then understandably, if they're not feeling quite right inside. And so if we give example, if we allow ourselves to be us, to be real instead of trying to be strong, because when we try to be strong, if our children are very sensitive, they can feel if something up with us. But if we try to be strong, we try not to cry, we try to be brave, it send a message to our children that they too are not allowed to feel their emotion. And therefore they will try to stuff it in, so to say, and to be strong, to be brave. But children being children, it will shows up as not doing as well in school, not doing as well. If this continue on, they're not doing as well in their social life, in society. And as they grow up, they will continue on as adult. And so when this month being this week with earlier this week, Childhood Mental Health Awareness Week, one thing that we might want to consider doing, if the child also goes through similar thing to what we went through, is to actually give them an example, allow them to have a better grasp on what is going on in them, with their feelings, by allowing ourselves to express ourself and our feelings. And also it will allow them to express. If they see us that it is okay to cry, if they see that it is okay to be confused or to feel certain way, they are much more likely to express. And we know that when it comes to grief as well as other strong emotions, being able to express and release it from our heart and from our body is very, very helpful in helping us heal. And so when we allow our children to express instead of trying to be brave and holding it in, it's actually allow them to heal and allow them to be able to do well in school, to do well in their social life, in society, and to grow up well. And so this week, and continuing on, if you know somebody who has been through things and the children in their life as well, perhaps just consider to be an example of being natural, being real, so to say, even if some people might label us as weak or vulnerable. And that will allow our children to also be able to feel what they need to feel and express and release what they need to release, and then to be able to do well and thrive accordingly from being able to grieve and feel and heal the way that we all, including our children, are meant to. And if you have any questions or any comments, please feel welcome to connect with me. If you find these videos beneficial, so please do subscribe as well to the channel, as well as like this video, and feel welcome to connect with me with any questions, any concern, whether through the channel that you find this video or connecting with me at the bottom here at the screen, drtanforgrief@gmail.com. And I care about you and your well-being very, very much. And I look